Hi! So today I'm going to be reviewing Marks & Spencer's website to tell you how good or bad we think it is. So let's get cracking. So welcome back, Lindsay here from Jammy Digital, and if this is your first time to our channel, make sure you hit subscribe and click on the bell icon. You'll get brand new videos jam-packed with helpful advice all about websites and how to improve them and how to make your mark online. So why are we reviewing Marks & Spencer's websites? Well, for those of you who know us, probably know that we do kind of website critiques for small business owners, but we've never actually publicly done a website critique for a big business. And I think the purpose of this video really is to show you that it's not just small businesses that perhaps need to improve things on their website or sometimes get things wrong on their website. Often big businesses do a lot wrong and they get the basics wrong as well. So we're going to be reviewing Marks & Spencer's website today. The reason I chose Marks & Spencer's website is recently in the news they've been struggling. They're struggling for sales and things like that. They're low from the previous year, which is 2017, last year. And I think that there are a lot of things they could improve on their website to hopefully improve sales. So we're going to head over to Marks & Spencer's website now and let's have a look how they can improve it. Okay, so this is Marks & Spencer's website. And for those of you who don't know or haven't heard of Marks & Spencer's, perhaps you're not based in the UK, Marks & Spencer's is pretty much a British institution. You'll find a shop on every major British high street and they kind of sell food and clothes, but they're a major retailer. Okay, so this is their website here, and this is the first thing that you see on their homepage. And I'll generally just be looking at the homepage today because there's a lot for us to look at. But a lot of these lessons that I'll be going through can apply to small businesses just as much as they apply to big business as well. So the first thing that I would pick up on was the fact that this section up here, sort of this menu section with the logo and everything else that I've just highlighted, it's very, very crowded. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of stuff packed in there. You've obviously got the logo, you've got all this stuff up here, you've got what are you looking for, and you've got all the main menu items here. And then under the main menu item, you've got some very tiny text. Now this is a big computer that I'm actually on, but generally if you're on a laptop, that's very small text underneath the main sort of menu there, just giving you some more information. Now, I think what they need to do is clean this up a lot more because it's just too cramped. And I think if they want people to search, which is I think generally what they're aiming for, then they need to make that more prominent, generally make it pop a little bit more because at the moment it's kind of getting lost with everything else. It's right by the logo. It doesn't really stand out. The first time I came onto this website, I actually missed it. So they need to think about cleaning this whole section up and making it a lot better. I would get rid of this information underneath, this information here. Although yes, those are quite nice sort of selling points. It's not really adding anything. I doubt anyone will read it. It's just kind of cluttering the whole thing up. And I'll give you an example of quite a good example of what someone else is doing, which is John Lewis, which is Marks & Spencer's probably main competitor or one of their main competitors. Now on their sort of menu section, they do have this bit up here, but it's very small and out of the way because they know that people aren't going to be that interested in that bit yet. They make their search box a lot more prominent with a lot more white space around it than Marks & Spencer's do. And that's the thing, they need more white space around this. They need it to make it more prominent, more clear. Okay, this is what we want our users to do. We want our users to search for our products and services. And that's exactly what John Lewis do here. And they put it in a little box. So you straight away can see it. It's right in the middle, hits you right in the face as soon as you go onto it. And also the sort of menu is a lot cleaner as well. There's not that additional information like there is on Marks & Spencer's website. So I think there needs to be more white space, a little bit cleaner, a little bit less cluttered, and I think that would work. And that's the thing on lots of websites that people get wrong. They kind of make their menu very, very cluttered, and you need to make it sort of breathe a little bit. Still don't make it take too much of this page because this is a very precious space on your website. We call this, the first third of your home page. That's the page that people are going to see the most on your website, and you want to get people to the next page. So don't make it take up too much space on your website, but certainly make it very clean, make it very simple, and make it very clear what you want people to do. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was the menu section. Now, if I just hover over here, Marks & Spencer's has a lot of products. And this is a problem that major retailers and small businesses face online. If they sell a lot of products, it's hard to get all those products into a main menu. It's actually incredibly difficult for shopping websites to do. And unfortunately, I don't think Marks & Spencer's have done it very well here. So you've got sort of different things under Christmas, but you've got kind of trees and decorations. And that to me kind of looks like the whole thing is trees and decorations. You kind of don't notice that there are other things here. So for the home, gifts by recipient, and it's very sort of clustered, very close together. Again, there's not much white space here happening. And you have this kind of weird featured section to the right, which I'm not really sure what that is adding. I'd be interested to see the stats of how many users actually click onto that and whether that actually works well for Marks & Spencer. Because if you freed this area up, you'd have a lot more space to work with, and it'd be a lot easier for the user to kind of navigate and see where they need to go. So I'll go back to John Lewis again. Let's have a look what they do. You see, it's a lot simpler, isn't it? They've got their sort of headlines here for each category, and then you can break it down further. And that works a lot better. There's a lot more white space on that menu. They still kind of have a featured bit, just like Marks & Spencer do, but they put it underneath instead of to the side. So they've put it to the side here, and that makes it a lot more cluttered. So again, I think it's just about thinking about the end user and how they're going to experience your website, how they're going to find things. The more white space, the more freer it is, the better it's going to be, really. And at the moment, it's just too cluttered, too much information. They need to simplify it and make that a lot cleaner. Okay, so the next section that I'm going to look at is this section here, which is what we call the hero image and the sort of call to action. Now, this is actually quite nice. We usually say feature an image here and then a clean call to action, and then just summarize, what it is your business is about, or in this case, they're sort of talking about coats and jackets, and that's absolutely fine. So I think this works quite well. It doesn't particularly, it's not very strong. Certainly what we always do with images is we make sure that the text actually follows the eye line of the person. So as you can see, she's kind of looking that way. So I would actually have this text to the actual right of her instead, because what you do as a user, you follow her eyes. And so it's very odd to actually have this text and the call to action on the left. Now that sounds very, very technical, but it's actually very easy to do. You just kind of follow the eyes of the person actually in the picture and then position the text and your call to action where the person's eyes are actually looking, because you automatically go in that direction when you're actually on a website. So that's a very easy fix for them to do. But overall, it's not too bad, actually. The one thing I did want to look at was this section here. Now, what we always say about websites is let them breathe. And that sounds very fussy and kind of poncy. And when I hear myself say it, I can kind of go, oh, but there's so much stuff crammed into this website. And straight after this sort of main hero image here, we have something called This Week We Love, but there's no spacing in between it. There's no space for it to breathe. There's no, sort of section 1 and section 2 of the website. So we always say on your homepage, put things into sections. So this will be the first section, this will be the second section, this will be the third. And let them have space in between those sections. Don't fear white space on the page or any space on the page. It doesn't have to be white, but just let the website breathe a little bit. So if I give you an example on our website, okay, so if I scroll down, look at the space here. Yeah, and the space there. and the space there, there's a lot of space happening. And that's because you want your users to understand, okay, this is one section of the website, and this is, talking about one thing, and then I can go over and I can head over to that page if I'm interested in it. This is another thing that we're talking about here, and I understand that that is a separate section of the website. Whereas on Marks and Spencer's, everything just is so crammed, so close together, it kind of all bleeds into one another, and it's very difficult to kind of navigate. You haven't got any clear call to actions here, so there's nothing to kind of click or go to the next page on the website. They're not giving their users that direction that they absolutely need. So there's lots of things that they need to do here. I think generally put more white space on this website in between these sections, most certainly, and then put call to actions underneath. Now you might think, well, it's really obvious that they need to click on these boxes, when actually it's not. You need to make things really, really simple for your end user. You need to hold their hand and guide them where you need to go on their website. So the more kind of, if you have a clear call to action, that's the best way to do that, to say this is where you need to go. So I'm just going to scroll down a little bit more here. And we've got this kind of weird style and living section, which again, it kind of looks very similar to these, and you don't kind of know that you're entering a new section. So this is all about their style and living and things from their editors, and presume they're going to be articles and pieces of content that people might find interesting. But there's nothing to say that this part is any different from this section or this section. It's all kind of very, very similar. The pictures are okay, they're fine, they're quite small. But there's nothing to say, okay, this is about, something different, something else. They could do something, perhaps have it in a different colour or something that tells you that this is a different space on the website. This is a different section. This is a different topic, really. And if I just go down some more, again, we've got something called latest food news, but it's very, very close to what's up top. And there doesn't seem to be any kind of consistency between what they're offering. So we've got This Week We Love, and we've got sort of knits and Christmas and coats. That's fine. And start the Christmas countdown. Okay, that's fine. And then you've got latest food news. But it all just seems a bit randomly put together, where you've got flowers and you've got coats and nothing kind of has synergy. It'd be much better if they broke it down into clothing, Christmas and food. If they had sort of 3 sections for those, that would make it so much easier for the end user. Then they could click on, the food section, and they could get to the, a food page dedicated to them. They could click on the clothing section, and then it could go to more options, women's clothing, men's clothing, etc. They could click on the Christmas section, and then it could go to a page saying Christmas trees, blah, 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 and you could click further from there. But there's no real kind of consistency. There's no thought to the end user and how they're going to experience the website. It's all very higgledy-piggledy at the moment. So I think there's a lot to work on there, and I think that just proves that it doesn't really matter what your budget is or, how big you are. Even the biggest companies make simple errors like this, and it doesn't matter if you're a small business, like I said, or a big company. If you can't get the basics right, then you're not going to be able to make as many sales as you possibly can, because people are just going to get confused with your website and they're going to click off and go somewhere else, unfortunately. Now, we see this all the time. I see this with big business websites. I get frustrated all the time because I know they've got the budget to do it well, but they're just not doing it right. So I hope you found this useful. And if you do want to subscribe to any further videos of ours, just hit the subscribe button as well as the bell icon. And I will see you in the next video.